morning to all. The topic which is assigned to our group for the group discussion is gynandromorphs. Myself Pratiksha Hegde, and our group names are Hashini Pavaskar, Gloria, J. Ravina, Harshita Naik, Ganpati Yadav, Deepika Baindur, and HR Vijayashree. And our group name is Bridge. Then coming to the concept of gynandromorphs. Actually, it's a very easy word. It is derived from Greek. The word itself indicates that gyne means female, andro means male, morph means forms. So we can simply call it as the organisms which contain both male and female characteristics. And the phenomenon is called gynandromorphism. We can mainly found in gynandromorphic organisms in lower organisms, that is insects. So we use this term in entomology. And I earlier told our group name is Bridge. He was an American scientist. He proposed the one theory called as genic balance theory. He mainly performed experiment on Drosophila. Then that leads to the concept of gynandromorphs.
Oh, that's interesting. Does someone know something more about Bridge?
Yeah, I know. He's a Calvin Bridge. He was an American scientist. He contributed lots to the field of genetics, and he also published many books. His work with sex-linked traits in fruit fly, that is Drosophila melanogaster, suggested that chromosomes containing genes.
Why did he experimented only on Drosophila?
Because it's a common fruit fly and it is easily available and reproduced in a short time. In order to get the results in a short time, he used Drosophila for his experiment.
So Drosophila is a nice choice, I guess. So what about the genic balance theory?
Actually, this theory states that instead of XY chromosome, the sex is determined by the genic balance or the ratio between the X chromosome and autosome genome. And he proposed this theory in 1926, and this leads to the concept of gynandromorph.
Yeah, we are telling about gynandromorphism. Gynandromorphism contains male and female characters in organism. But what causes gynandromorphism?
Okay, what causes? Actually, it is a simple process. The cause of gynandromorphism goes like this. Actually, what happened? In mitotic division, the cell divide and make exact copies of itself without undergoing any change in the chromosomal number or its characteristics. But in some lower organisms, which contain only few cells, one of the cell divide and it does not split chromosome typically. For instance, the cell may divide into two cells having an XY chromosome to become XXYY. Usually the cell would divide into an XY chromosome. For in rare occasions, the cell may divide into an X chromosome or an XYY chromosome. So when this happens, the organism will have the characteristics of both male and female. So this is the causative.
Wow, it's all about genetics. Is there any type in gynandromorphs?
Yeah, there is. There are three main types in the gynandromorphism. First one is bilateral gynanders. Second, anterior-posterior gynanders, and the last one is sex spike bats.
Oh, okay. Then anybody can explain what is bilateral gynandomorph? Sometimes one half of the body shows male characters, while the other half of the body shows female characters. This type of sex intermediate is called bilateral gynanders. Then Drosophila is the fine example for this type.
Okay, then what about other two types, that is anterior-posterior gynanders and sex spike bats?
Anterior-posterior gynanders are those which have features of the one sex on the anterior part of the half of the body and other sex on the posterior half of the body. An example for this is beetles. And next, sex spike bats are those which have mixture of both male and female tissues in the body. And example for this type is silkworms.
Okay, nice. These are all about the types, but how it occurs?
Gynaedomorphs are supposed to have produced mainly by two methods. One is elimination of X chromosome, another one is retention of the polar nucleus in the egg.
How it occurs, elimination of X chromosome?
So, elimination of X chromosomes. Actually, the gynander starts its development from a set of chromosomes containing diploid autosomes along with two X chromosomes. But during the course of cell division, what happens is one X chromosome is lost from either of the product of the cell division. So, what further it takes place that one daughter cell will contain diploid autosomes along with two X chromosomes. Whereas another daughter cell will contain diploid autosomes but only one X chromosome in it. If this phenomenon takes place in the first zygotic division, then two blastomeres are produced with unequal number of X chromosomes. Thus, one blastomere with two X chromosomes will show the female characteristics, whereas another blastomere with single X chromosome will show the male characteristics. And this is how gynaedomorphism occurs in organisms by the elimination of X chromosome.
Okay, then what about retention method?
This method can be explained by taking an example of silkworms. In silkworms, males are XX and females are XY. And during oogenesis, X and Y chromosomes get separated and one pass into the polar body and another pass into the egg nucleus. And sometimes what happens is both the nuclei goes into the egg nucleus, and that is then binucleated egg is produced. Then during fertilization, two sperms enter into the one egg nucleus, and each fertilizes one nuclei. Then one fertilization and cleavage, one blastomere develops into the female part, and another one develops into the male part.
Does the phenomenon of gynaedomorphism occurs only in Drosophila? No, it's not only Drosophila. Some other animal species also exhibit this gynaedomorphism, and such as insects like butterflies and some other crustaceans like lobsters, crabs, and also in beetles, wasps, and silkworms, honeybees. And some bird species also exhibit this gynaedomorph. For example, gynaedomorphic zebrafinch.
Okay, how can we identify the gynaedomorphic organisms?
Yeah, identification. Coming to the identification, since the phenomenon of gynaedomorphism occurs mainly in the lower organisms, mainly in the insects and all, it is mainly shown by the body coloration. For instance, if we take butterflies, the gynaedomorphic butterfly will have a light and dark banded coloration in its body. And if we take the example of birds also, the male bird of any species will have a characteristic body coloration, whereas the female of the same species will have another kind of coloration, a difference between the coloration of male and female bird. But if there is a gynaedomorph of same species, then it will contain both a mixture of both the male and female body coloration. And that is how we can identify the gynaedomorphism in organisms.
Okay. I think we had enough discussion with this topic. I really thankful to Professor S.S. Bird sir and Department of Zoology faculties for this giving us such a wonderful opportunity. It's really worthful. And I request Miss Maitri, the leader of the next group, Mandal, to take over the further discussion. Thank you, one and all.
Good morning everyone. Our group name is Mandal, and the group members are Nusrat, Kanaka, Sabha, Madhuri, Nisha and Kushal and Nehal. Then our group discussion is on about Mendelism. We are familiar with the word genetics. When we hear the word genetics, we remember one person, right? Who is that? Do you know? Yes, you are right. Before proceeding to the law of the Mendel and the word Mendelism, we would like to give the history about the Mendel. Can anybody give the history about the Mendel?
Okay, as we all know that Mendel is known as the father of genetics. He was born in a peasant family in 1822. He worked as a teacher and he spent his later life as an abbot. He died in 1884. He carried out his experiments on 22 varieties of pea plants. His papers were published in 1866 and 1867. The work of Mendel was not known to this world since for 33 years. Then the three botanists rediscovered his work, and when the work of Mendel was appreciated by this world, Mendel was no more. While carrying out his experiments, Mendel mainly focused on 7 main characters. Kushal, would you like to tell that characters?
There are the length of the stem tall as dominant and small dwarf as recessive.
Then the second character is the shape of the seed, round as dominant and wrinkled as recessive.
And he also considered the color of the pod, green as dominant and yellow as recessive.
The color of the seed coat, colored as dominant and white as recessive.
Position of the flower, axial as dominant and terminal as recessive.
Color of the cotyledon, yellow as dominant and green as recessive. Shape of the pod, inflated as dominant and constricted as recessive. As you told earlier, Mendel was called as father of genetics. Why he was known as father of genetics?
He discovered the basic principles of heredity through his experiments, so he is called as father of genetics.
Then what do you mean by genetics?
The study of genes, genetic materials and heredity in living organisms is called genetics.
Then the word came to Mendelism. Then what is the meaning of Mendelism here?
The contribution of Mendel to genetics is known as Mendelism.
I remember that he proposed 2 laws.
No, he proposed 3 laws.
Which are those?
Law of dominance, law of segregation, law of independent assortment.
Then what is law of dominant states?
The law of dominance states that one factor in a pair may prevent the expression of the other.
She has given the law of dominance, no? Then on what basis she has classified these laws?
Based on the experimental results on the pea plants.
Then what is dominant and recessive gene?
The dominant gene, the complete suppression of expression of one allele by another at the same locus is called dominant gene. The recessive gene, which it expresses in the suppression in the presence of dominant gene. I have a doubt. How can we differentiate dominant character and recessive character? I will explain. The character which express itself in the F1 generation are called as dominant character, and the character which remain unexpressed are called as recessive character.
Oh, I haven't doubt. She said F1 generation. Means F1 generation means what?
F1 generation means we can say it as a filial generation, or we can say offsprings produced in the first generation.
Then I have doubt. Then what is filial means here?
Okay. Filial is a Latin word which means son. Then we have gained much more knowledge about the law of dominance. Now let's move towards the next law, that is law of segregation. Before going forward, let's know what the law of segregation states.
The law of segregation states that each and every organism is composed of a bundle of character. Each character is composed by a pair of genes. During gamete formation, these 2 genes separate and enter the different gametes.
And the law of segregation is also called as a purity of gametes.
Mendel formulated law of segregation on the basis of which experiment?
I know the answer. On the basis of monohybrid cross experiment.
Then Maitri, can you define monohybrid cross and give it example?
Yes. Monohybrid means the crossing of the two plants differing in one character is termed as monohybrid cross. Here we take the example of when we cross the tall plants with the dwarf plants.
I have a doubt. What is the result of F1 generation?
All the F1 generation plants were tall.
Okay, then how we get F2 generation and what will be its results?
When we inbreed the F1 generation, we get F2 generation. It results in that 75% of the plants were tall and 25% were dwarf.
What is the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross and how many possible combinations are obtained in F1 generation of monohybrid cross?
The ratio is 3:1, 3 tall and 1 dwarf, and there are 3 possible combinations are obtained in the F1 generation of the monohybrid cross. I hope the second law, that is law of segregation, is clear. Let us discuss on the next law, that is the third law, that is the law of independent assortment. What does the law of independent assortment states?
Law of independent assortment states that one gene for a character separates and enter into the gametes independently from the genes of the other character.
On which basis you found this loss?
On the basis of dihybrid cross.
I have a doubt. What is dihybrid cross?
Dihybrid cross is the crossing of two plants differing in two characters.
Then I have a doubt that Kanaka, can you give an example for dihybrid cross and can you give an example?
Yes, I know. He considered two characters, color and shape. In yellow cotyledon with the round seed and green cotyledon with the wrinkled seed.
How many possibles are obtained in F2 generation?
There are 16.
Then what do we mean by genotype?
The gene composition of an organism which determines the character is termed as a genotype.
Then what is phenotype?
Phenotype refers to a visible character of an organism.
What is the phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross?
The phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross is 9:3:3:1. 9 indicates yellow round and 3 indicates yellow wrinkle, 3 indicates green round and 1 indicates green wrinkle.
When did Mendel propose the law of independent assortment and law of segregation?
In the year 1866.
Okay, in this world, behind any success, there must be some reason. We think Mendel also had some reasons behind his success. Let me see that which are those reasons.
Yeah, there are reasons. The reasons are the flowers of pea plants are normally self-fertilized. The hybrids of garden pea plants are perfectly fertile. The cross-pollination is not very difficult in pea plants and artificial fertilization is almost always successful.
Apart from these success, there are some more success. Many pure breeding varieties are available for the experiment. These pea plants have a short growth period as well as life cycle, and he studied the inheritance of only one character at a time. And these pea plants are very easily can be grown on the open ground.
Okay, Maitri, apart from this, according to me, his patience also had been the reason for his success, maybe, no?
Yes, you are right. Here we conclude our discussion. Thank you, Ananda. Thank you for the opportunity for the discussion.
So we have come to an end now. Almost all 7 groups have completed the discussion. So healthy discussion you carried out really. I'm very happy. All 58 students of BSc final year most enthusiastically and actively involved in this group discussion. So on behalf of myself, I extend thanks to all of you. So now I call upon 4 students to give away their opinion about the program. If any healthy suggestions are there, that also accept motively. The department will accept your healthy suggestions also. So I request our students, Ms. Divya Naik, Ms. Sunidhi Hegde, Mr. Suraj Naik, and Ms. Gloria. Please come. Divya Naik.
GD, group discussion. You had exchanged your ideas and each participant gets opportunity to express their views, to express their comments from other members and from including their members also. So this was the very good innovative idea. We have to accept this, which leads to a good communication skill, which leads to a good leadership, which gives opportunity for this kind also. Really, this was the best thing I had. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much all for this cooperation. Thank you, everyone.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself Gloria Rachel Moses. I'm here to tell my opinions and my experience about the GD group discussion. So, respected sir, Professor Sisbal, Archana ma'am, and all of your friends, I'm privileged to stand here and talk about this GD because it's, as said before, group discussion. It's all about mainly the communication skills and knowledge that we have. But moreover, most of the people sitting here, it was an opportunity to all of us to bring out ourselves and speak out about the knowledge what we have. And it was just like opening up ourselves and interacting and having a freely discussion with everyone and having a positive energy. So commonly group discussions as we go for a further higher studies and jobs and all, more than writing work, I think it's all about seminars and GD that we come across. So this GD was an initiation to such an study or the further studies, and it was really amazing. I think for exams also we didn't prepare so much for our exams and all. So much we prepared, so much we all were excited about the GD. So I'm really happy that I am a part of this GD. So as you all are, and thank you so much, sir, for such